யாதும் ஊரே யாவரும் கேடீர்.
செம்மொழி வலையொலி யூடியூப் சேனல். இந்த சேனலின் மூலமாக, அந்த வலையொலியின் மூலமாக பல்வேறு தகவல்களை தினந்தோறும் நாங்கள் வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த நிலையில் சிலப்பதிகாரம் என்ற தலைப்பில் ஒவ்வொரு பகுதியாக வழங்கக்கூடிய அந்த தொகுப்பை முழுமையாக கண்டு பார்க்கலாம்.
It is their own views of destiny whose dominance is felt throughout that justify the juxtaposing of Antigone and Silappathikaram. The Greek tragic poets made effective use of two religious concepts, the curse and the familial inheritance of a curse. But this thinking was later modified into a belief that a divine punishment might fall not on the wicked man himself, but on his children and descendants. Judaism believed in Jehovah's visitations of the sins of the fathers upon the children into the third and the fourth generations. Those who found this doctrine objectionable, as it entailed the infliction of suffering on innocent individuals, propounded that the individual's soul is rewarded or punished in the afterlife according to his conduct on earth. But Greek myths and tragedies portray courage and bloodshed in successive generations of the same family, as they seem to accept the faith in inherited punishment. They contain no reference to judgment of the soul after death. The Hindus, the Jains and the Buddhists, on the other hand, believing as they do in a cycle of births, contend that a human being stands or falls by what he or she has done in the previous birth. The Greek play opens with a reference to the inheritance of a curse. Antigone says, "Ismene, dear sister, you would think that we had already suffered enough for the curse on Oedipus." Later it is made clear in the dialogue between the chorus and Antigone. Chorus says, "You have passed beyond human daring and come at last into a place of stone where justice sits." Antigone says, "You have touched it at last, that bridal bed, unspeakable, horror of son and mother mingling their crime, infection of all our family." That is Oedipus marrying his own mother, killing his father. "O Oedipus, father and brother, your marriage strikes from the grave to murder mine. I have been a stranger here in my own land. All my life the blasphemy of my birth has followed me." But this is not all. The uncanny power of fate is mentioned again and again. The leader of the chorus asks, what are the new complexities that a shifting fate has woven for him? After his bitter experience, Crayon acknowledges the power of fate. He says, "I will not fight with destiny. The laws of the gods are mighty, and a man must serve them to the last day of his life." The messenger who announces the deaths of Haman and Antigone speaks of the mysterious role of fate. He says, "I cannot say of any condition of human life, this is fixed, this is clearly good or bad. Fate rises up and fate casts down the happy and unhappy alike. No man can foretell his fate. The Greeks seem to be certain that pride, power, wealth, ambition and even excessive happiness will invite divine wrath and punishment. Here is a passage. For God hates utterly the bray of bragging tongues, and when he beheld their smiling, human beings smiling, their swagger of golden helms, the frown of his thunder blasted their first man from our walls, that is, the walls of Troy. No pride on earth is free of the curse of heaven. Fate works most for woe, with follies fairest to show. Man's little pleasure is the spring of sorrow. Man's little pleasure is the spring of sorrow. This does not mean that human beings are not responsible for what they do. Fate may play a great role in bringing about the downfall of the tragic hero, but the chief characters may be found to be the creators of their own tragedy. The chorus tells Antigone, "You have made your choice. Your death is the doing of your conscious hand." Tiresias the prophet admonishes Creon for having caused his own ruin. "I tell you, Creon, you yourself have brought this new calamity upon us. The only crime is pride." The final lesson that these characters have to learn is that since no power in wealth or war or tough sea blackened ships can prevail against untiring destiny, there is no happiness there where there is no wisdom but in submission to the gods. Silappathikaram abounds in references to curse and fate. The three lessons that the epic wants to teach are stated explicitly in the Padiham of the epic. அரசியல் பிழைத்தோர்க்கு அறம் கூற்றாவதும், உரைசால் பத்தினிக்கு உயர்ந்தோர் ஏத்தலும், ஊழ்வினை உறுத்து வந்து ஊட்டும் என்பதும், சூழ்வினை சிலம்பு காரணமாக சிலப்பதிகாரம் எனும் பெயரால் நாட்டுதும் யாமோர் பாற்றுடை செய்யுள். The three lessons that the epic wants to teach are stated explicitly in the Padiham. Dharma will ruin the rulers unruly. The great will praise the women famed for chastity. Destiny will be out on time to do its deed. After Kannagi destroys the city of Madurai, she is informed of the curse on her and her husband by Madurapati Taivam. There is no point in her blaming the king, because in his previous birth, Kovalan committed the sin of framing a false charge against an innocent businessman and getting him killed by the king. This treacherous deed led to the curse of Sangaman's wife Neeli, and this is the curse by Sangaman's wife. எம்புரு துயரம் செய்தோர் யாவரும் தம்முரு துயரம் இற்று ஆகுக என்றே விழுவோள் இட்ட வழுவில் சாபம் பட்டனிர் ஆதலின் கட்டுரை கேள்வி உம்மை வினைவந்து உறுத்த காலை செம்மையிலோர்க்கு செய்தவம் உதவாது. May all those who caused us this grief be afflicted with grief of like degree. This is the curse of Sangaman's wife Neeli. Almost every character in Silappathikaram speaks of the might of fate, and the poet never fails to draw our attention to the role of fate while mentioning a moment of crisis. If, having listened to the song by Madhavi, Covalent experiences a sudden transformation. It is because of fate. காணல் வரி யான் பாட தான் ஒன்றின் மேல் மனம் வைத்து மாயப்பொய் பலகூட்டும் மாயத்தாள் பாடினாள் என யாழ் இசைமேல் வைத்து தன் ஊழ்வினை வந்து உறுத்தது ஆகலின் உவவு உற்ற திங்கள் முகத்தாளை கவவுக்கை நெகிழ்ந்தனாய். Feeling the force of his fate, he relaxed the grip of his hand that had embraced the full moon-faced lady, that is Madhavi. When Covalent decides to take Kannagi to Madurai, it is again due to the design of fate. என்னோடு இங்கு ஏடு அலர் கோதாய் எழுக என்று நீடி வினை கடைக்கூட்ட வியங்கொண்டான். Driven by the long awaiting destiny, he undertook to act and asked his wife to accompany him. The Pandya king orders his men to kill Covalent and seize the anklet when he is under the spell of fate. வினை விளை காலம் ஆகலின் யாவதும் சினை அலர் வேம்பன் தேரானாகி. As it was time for fate to bear fruit, the Pandya king, wearing the Vembu garland, lost his power to ponder. When the Pandya king dies, after realizing his folly, Kannagi tells Koparundevi, முற்பகல் செய்தான் பிறன்கேடு தன்கேடு காண்குரும் பெற்றிய கான். The man that harms others in the forenoon will in the afternoon witness his own fall. She very often curses herself for having been the instrument of fate. மனமதுரையோடு அரசு கேடுற வல்வினை வந்து உறுத்த காலை கணவனுக்கு அங்கு இழந்து போந்த கடுவினையேன் யான் என்றாள். As directed by destiny dreadful, Madurai disappearing with its monarch, having lost my husband there, I am here an ill-fated one. That is how Kannagi calls herself, an ill-fated one. It is pointed out that the Ajivakas gave importance to predestination, destiny and chance, and were convinced of the futility of man's efforts. Ilango might have been stressing this faith while making repeated references to destiny and the effects of evil deeds. Kaundi, the Jain saint in Silappathikaram, echoing the views of her creator, harps on the workings of the inexorable fate. தீதுடை வெவ்வினை உறுத்த காலை பேதமை கந்தா பெரும்பேறு உருவர் ஒய்யா வினைப்பயன் உண்ணும் காலை கையாறு கொள்ளார் கற்றறி மாக்கள். While afflicted by the effects of dark deeds, the foolish will be baffled, whereas when haunted by relentless nemesis, the learned will never waver. She in turn is advised by the Saraners, that is Kaundi, is advised by the Saraners to be wary of this all-powerful force. கழிவரும் சிறப்பின் கவுந்தி காணாய் ஒழிக என ஒழியாது ஊட்டும் வல்வினை இட்ட வித்தின் எதிர்ந்து வந்து எய்தி ஒட்டும் காலை ஒழிக்கவும் ஒண்ணா. Most honored Kaundi, nemesis will never leave us without taking a heavy toll. When like the seeds sown, it grows and demands retribution, we cannot exterminate it. The Tamil literary tradition had right from the Sangam days spoken of wool, paal, murai, unmai, teivam, niyadi and vinay. In one of the Puram poems, for instance, Kaniyan Pungundranar has observed, நீர்வழிப்படும் புனை போல ஆருயிர் முறைவழிப்படும் என்பது திறவோர் காட்சியின் தெளிந்தனம் ஆதலின் மாட்சியின் பெரியோரை வியத்தலும் இளமே, சிறியோரை இகழ்தல் அதனினும் இளமே. This much praised life of ours, a fragile raft, borne down the waters of some mountain stream, that over huge boulders roaring seeks the plain. Those storms with lightnings flash from darkened skies descend, the raft goes on as fates ordain. Thus have we seen in vision of the wise, we marvel not at greatness of the great, still less despise we men of low estate. Though Ilango's work is an elaboration of this absolute faith in destiny, his characters as portrayed by him do not appear to be mere puppets in the hands of some dark force, but enjoy a lot of freedom in choosing their course of action and taking their own decisions at critical junctures. For all their miseries, they cannot throw the blame on fate. The defects of the major characters are not glossed over. Even Kannagi is not pictured as a goddess without blemish in the early part of the epic. Kovalan's hamartia is a failure to foresee the consequences of a deed. He takes rash decisions and plunges into action without being bothered about what that will lead to. Though Madhavi becomes a noble soul at the end, chastened by her bitter experiences, she did not consider it wrong to keep Kovalan in her fold away from his wedded wife. All the characters expressing their unwavering faith in fate do not become models of equanimity. They are not free from the human passions of joy, sorrow, anger and pride. Even Kaundi, who repeatedly expatiates on the stranglehold of fate and of the need to overcome base passions, loses control over herself and curses a pair of mischievous beings when they speak ill of Kannagi and Kovalan. The preternatural in Antigone and Silappathikaram underscores the role of fate. All the three Greek tragedians, Aeschylus, Sophocles and Euripides, resort to the use of oracular voices, ghosts, godly apparitions and other supernatural elements. In Antigone, we come across the description of a mysterious dust storm. The midday sun forces the watchmen to shield their eyes. The seemingly endless dust storm compels them to close their eyes altogether and numbs their perceptions. No god makes his appearance in the tragedy, but the chorus dances three terror myths, each of which alludes to erotic encounters between gods and mortals. The birds at the place of sacred augury scream barbarously, and Hephaestus, the fire god, refuses his appearance. The flame does not kindle, the fat, the entrails do not burn. These indicate the anger of the gods with the citizens of Thebes, a polluted city. There are numerous ghosts in Silappathikaram, some of which are entrusted with the task of maintaining law and order in the city of Puhar. Kannagi's female companion, Tevanti, is said to live with a god in human form for 8 years. The Yadava women, including Madhuri, witness a few strange occurrences after Kovalan leaves with Kannagi's anklet and realize that they portend some dire calamity. Kudappal Uraya, Kuvi Imil Yetrin, Madakkan Neer Sorum, வருவது ஒன்று உண்டு. உரிநறு வெண்ணை உருகா, உருகும் மறி தெரித்து ஆகா, வருவது ஒன்று உண்டு. நாள் முலை ஆயம் நடுங்குபு நின்று இறங்கும் மால் மணி வீழும் வருவது ஒன்றுண்டு. The pot milk won't curdle, the eyes of humped bulls shed tears, some evil is certain to turn up. The pan butter, when heated, won't melt, the young lambs have ceased romping about, some evil is certain to turn up. The four-nippled cows weep trembling, the bells from their necks fall down, some evil is certain to turn up. Koparundevi in her dream perceives certain ill omens warning her of the impending disaster. செங்கோலும் வெண்குடையும் செறிநிலத்து மறித்து வீழ்தரும் நம் கோந்தன் கொற்றவாயில் மணி நடுங்க நடுங்கும் உள்ளம் இரவில் இடும் பகல்மீன் விழும் இருநான்கு திசையும் அதிர்ந்திடும் வருவதோர் துன்பம் உண்டு. She says, the scepter and the white canopy fell tumbling down. Our king's bell of grievance at the palace gate sounded, striking terror into my heart. Rainbow appeared at night. Comets fell during daylight. The world shook in all directions. Some misery is in the offing. The supernatural events in both the works stress the puzzling nature of life on earth and are so well integrated with the rest of the happenings that they do not appear to be odd or out of place. In Greek tragedies, the chorus plays a very prominent role. Being a supple instrument, it can be used for a variety of complex purposes by the playwright. The choral odes in Antigone are praised for successfully combining intellectual force and lyric beauty. One of them is a splendid tribute to the achievement of man. The chorus says, numberless are the world's wonders, but none more wonderful than man. The storm grey sea yields to his prose, the huge crests bear him high. Earth holy and inexhaustible is graven with shining furrows, where his ploughs have gone year after year, the timeless labour of stallions. Another marvel at God's vengeance and the wrath, another figure marvels at God's vengeance and the wrath of Zeus. Yet another is a celebrated hymn to love. Love, unconquerable, waster of rich men, keeper of warm lights and all-night vigil in the soft face of a girl. Sea wanderer, forest visitor, even the pure immortals cannot escape you, and mortal man in his one day's dusk trembles before your glory. A hymn to Dionysus, son of Zeus and Semele, is full of mythological allusions. Iacchus of Thebes, heavenly child of Semele, bride of the thunderer, the shadow of plague is upon us. Come with clement feet, O come from Parnassus, down the long slopes across the lamenting water. Aichiyar Kuravai, Vetuvavari, Kundrak Kuravai of Silappathikaram resemble the Greek chorus as they combine music, dance, words of wisdom and prayers full of mythological allusions. The appeal of every one of the songs in these is irresistible. The songs of the shepherds, the hunters and the mountain lasses, using the folk song motif extensively, capture the hearts of sophisticated critics as well as of common readers. The final message of Sophocles is that wisdom consists in submission to the gods. Towards the end of the play, the crestfallen, grief-stricken Creon is seen being led into the house, and his last words are, "Fate has brought all my pride to a thought of dust." Man has to accept life with all its miseries, Ilango's message is one of affirmation with a special emphasis on love for fellow human beings with a view to making this world a pleasant place to live in. Thank you.